So, if you're thinking about moving to Morristown, Tennessee, buying a home here, maybe you're selling a home here, or maybe you want to know just actually what's happening in the Morristown, Tennessee real estate market, then this video is for you because today I want to give you something a little different. I don't want to just tell you that Morristown is a great place to live. Anybody trying to sell you something, well, they can tell you that. What I want to do, I want to give you the information I would want somebody to give me if I were considering moving my family to Morristown, Tennessee. What does housing cost? What's happening with the real estate market? Where exactly are we? What's the difference between different parts of Morristown? Tell me about Cherokee Lake. I want to know if Morristown is growing, and maybe most importantly, what are some things you need to understand before you buy a house here? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Mike Elkins, broker owner of Elite Realty Group here in Morristown, Tennessee. Elite Realty Group's been serving the Morristown and Lakeway area since 2008. And on this channel, we're going to be talking a lot more about Morristown, Tennessee real estate, the surrounding Lakeway area, buying, selling, relocating, and what it's actually like to live here. So if that's something you're interested in, subscribe to the channel. Now, if you're thinking about moving to Morristown, Tennessee, here are 10 things that I think you need to know. Here's number one. Morristown, Tennessee is growing. Here's something I think a lot of people outside of East Tennessee may not realize. Morristown is growing rapidly. And I'm not just saying that because I feel like we're getting more traffic. Literally, according to the Census Bureau, Morristown's estimated population reached more than 33,500 people in 2025. That's roughly a 10% increase from the 2020 estimates. Hamlin County as a whole is now approaching 69,000 people. So when we talk about growth coming to East Tennessee, it's not just in Knoxville. It's not in Sevier County. It's not up in the Tri-Cities area only. Morristown is a big part of that story too. And I think there's several reasons that is happening. We've got manufacturing, we've got healthcare jobs, we've got retail, we've got access to two beautiful, absolutely beautiful lakes. We are within reach of Knoxville. We're close to the Smoky Mountains. And compared with some larger East Tennessee markets, Morristown can still offer people a different level of housing opportunity. Now, growth comes with positives and growth comes with negatives. Many people can mean more businesses, more development, more opportunities, and potentially greater demand for housing. It can also mean more traffic, more construction, and changes to the community that longtime residents have known for years. But if you're wondering, is Morristown dying or is Morristown growing? The numbers tell us pretty clearly. Morristown, Tennessee, it is growing. And I think that's something anyone considering buying property here, I think it's something you should understand. Now, number two, you need to understand where Morristown actually is. If you're moving here from another state, let me give you some perspective on Morristown, Tennessee. It sits in East Tennessee in Hamlin County. And one of the things that I love most about our location is it's not this big giant metropolitan area, but it's not isolated either. We've got Knoxville to the west. You've got the Tri-Cities toward the northeast. You've got Sevierville and the Smoky Mountains to the south. You've got Cherokee Lake right here. Douglas Lake is not that far away. And Interstate 81 gives this region access up and down the East Coast. So I often describe Morristown as a place where you can have a lot of access to a lot without necessarily living right in the middle of a major city. And that's an important distinction. If you're moving to Morristown because you expect downtown Nashville or Knoxville, you're not getting that. Morristown's Morristown. Each place has its own identity, and I think that's why a lot of people like it. You can drive through town and have everything from established subdivisions to downtown buildings to new construction. You got acreage. And then within a relatively short drive, you can be looking at a farm, mountain, Cherokee Lake, Douglas Lake. That's a very important East Tennessee combination for you. So before moving to Morristown, don't just ask, where's the house? Ask this question: how does that house fit the lifestyle that I want to have? Now, number 3, the Morristown, Tennessee housing market isn't just one market. This is one of the biggest misconceptions I see when people look at real estate statistics online. Someone Googles, what is the average home price in Morristown? And you get a number. And suddenly people start thinking that they understand the entire market, and honestly, you don't. Recent data, it tells us the median Morristown sales price roughly somewhere around $300,000, reported over a little 3-month period. Now, that's useful information, but it doesn't mean a house in Morristown, well, it's cost $300,000. There's a major difference. We've got homes below $200,000. We've got homes in the $200,000 range. We got a lot of activity in that $300,000 range. We've got 500, 700, $1 million plus. We got starter homes. We've got older homes in established neighborhoods. New construction is literally happening everywhere. People want acreage. We've got acreage. People want recreation. We've got lakes. We've got investment properties. And the property itself, it matters. The location matters. The condition matters. The lot size matters. The updates matter. Everything, as in real estate everywhere, it matters. And price ranges tremendously because of that. Another interesting thing about these current numbers is homes have been taking longer to sell than they were a year earlier. That can create some opportunity if you're buying here. But it also means sellers have to be much more thoughtful in pricing, preparation, and the marketing on their home. So if somebody tells you the Morristown market is hot or the Morristown market is slow, well, my response to that would be, which Morristown market are you talking about? Because real estate is hyper-local. And that's one of the biggest reasons local knowledge still matters. Here's number 4. 37813 and 37814 are not necessarily the same thing. Let me give you another Morristown specific lesson. If you start searching homes online, you're probably going to see 2 zip codes over and over, 813 and 814. And people moving here sometimes assume one zip code represents one specific kind of neighborhood and the other, well, it represents another. It isn't quite that simple in Morristown. Both zip codes contain a wide variety of housing. Both contain different price points. Both contain both older and newer homes. And depending on the property, you can get very different cost and characteristics in the same zip code. So I wouldn't recommend just choosing a home simply based on what somebody told you. You need to be in this zip code or that zip code. Instead, I would start what matters to you. Where are you going to be commuting? Where's work from this home? Do you want to be particularly close to shopping or services? Are you looking for acreage? Do you want to be closer to the lake? Do you want to establish subdivisions? The same questions we always talk about. Are you looking for new construction? How much maintenance are you totally comfortable with? What's your budget? Those questions will get you much further than simply saying, I want in 37813 or I want in 37814. A zip code is literally going to just be a search tool. It shouldn't be your entire real estate strategy. Let's go to number 5. Cherokee Lake is a big part of Morristown, Tennessee story. If we're going to talk about living in Morristown, Tennessee, we've got to talk about Cherokee Lake, because one of the unique things about this area is the amount of access we have to water and outdoor recreation. For some people, Cherokee Lake is where they fish. For other people, it's boating. For some, it's where they want their permanent residence. Other people just looking for a vacation home. And other buyers just love knowing I've got a lake nearby. But here's something I want people moving here to understand. Lake property can mean a lot of different things. Lakefront, lake view, lake access, seasonal water, main channel water, subdivision lake access. A home that's simply located near the lake, those are not interchangeable terms. And the value can be dramatically different depending on those terms. So if you're specifically buying Cherokee Lake property, you need to understand exactly what it is you're buying. Don't make assumptions from pictures. Don't make assumptions from the phrase lake property. And definitely don't assume every shoreline behaves the same way throughout the entire year. When buying around Cherokee Lake, the question isn't simply, can I see water? The question you need to ask is, what exactly comes with this property? That is a very different question. Here's number 6. Morristown can feel both city and country very quickly. Here's one of those things that's different to understand from just pictures you see online. You can be in a commercial area of Morristown, drive several minutes, and suddenly the surroundings can feel dramatically more rural. That's East Tennessee as a whole. And it's something I think a lot of people relocating here, I think it's something they appreciate. Because I think some people maybe want a subdivision. Morristown, the surrounding area, they have those. I think some people want land. You can also find that too. Maybe you want to get literally outside of the city limits. That's an option in Morristown and Hamlin County. Maybe you want to be close to downtown, but not necessarily right in the middle of everything. Those possibilities exist here as well. But this is where I want buyers to kind of slow down, because buying a property with acreage or outside a more traditional subdivision can introduce questions that you may not have considered. Water source, sewer versus septic, internet availability, road access, restrictions, property boundaries. Can I have outbuildings? Can I not? What about the driveway? What does it have to be? And depending upon the property, there's other questions you may need to ask. That beautiful 5-acre East Tennessee property on your phone might not be exactly what you've dreamed of, but you still need to understand what it is that you're buying, especially when you're moving from another state. Don't confuse, I love the way this looks, with I've done my due diligence. You need to make sure you do both. Here's number 7. Don't try to buy East Tennessee from literally just looking at Google Maps alone. This one could save somebody from making a really big mistake. If you're relocating to Morristown from, let's say, Florida, California, Ohio, Michigan, New York, or anywhere else, you can research literally everything online now, and that's a great thing. But online research does have its limits. A listing can look fantastic. Google Maps, it can tell you a distance. Street View can give you an idea of what's around it. But there are some things that a website cannot adequately communicate to you. How steep's the driveway? What's the terrain actually like? How does the surrounding area actually feel? What's across the road? How convenient is that drive in real life? What does the house look like when you're not standing in it, or when you're standing in it, rather this wide angle lens? That's true for everywhere in East Tennessee, because our topography can change dramatically. A half mile on a map don't necessarily tell the whole story. So use the technology, absolutely do that. Do a virtual showing when necessary. Do your research online, look at everything. But whenever possible, get boots on the ground before you make a major decision, because there's a huge difference between buying a house in Morristown and, let's say, buying the right house for your life in Morristown. Here's number 8. If you're selling a house in Morristown, Tennessee, this market's changed. Let's flip over and talk to sellers for a minute, because some homeowners still have 2021 and 2022 in their mind. They remember a period where houses could hit the market and get enormous attention, multiple offers over asking price immediately. That does not mean that you can do that today. But a lot of buyers, they've got more ability to be selective in many situations now. Market data shows us in Morristown that things are taking longer to sell than they were just a year ago. So as a seller, this changes your strategy big time. Your pricing matters, conditions matter, the photography, the presentation of the property, it matters. Marketing matters. Your first impressions, they matter. And one of the biggest mistakes a seller in Morristown can make is saying, well, we can start high and come down later. You can do that, but the market may punish you because you chose to do that. The first few weeks getting this house on the market are big time important because that's when the property's new. That's when buyers who have alerts looking for a specific house, that's when they get it new. If you miss that window because the home is significantly overpriced, you think I'm going to lower the price later and that's magically going to make everything okay, that doesn't necessarily mean that's going to happen. It doesn't mean that the house is going to just come back and have magical things happen to it. Listen, a home sells when the market sees enough value at the offered price to produce you a buyer. Here's number 9 about moving to Morristown. If you're buying a home, don't be trying to get this perfect situation, perfect market. I hear this all the time. Maybe we should wait, or should I wait till rates come down, till prices fall? Maybe I should wait till next year. Here's the problem I see with that. Nobody gets to buy yesterday's home with tomorrow's interest rates. You've got to make a decision in the market that actually exists right now. Now, that does not mean everybody should go out and buy a house right now. Absolutely not. For some people buying today, that's the right move for them. For someone else, maybe waiting's the right move. It depends upon your finances, how long you expect to own the property, your housing needs, and the actual options available. I would be careful about trying to predict a perfect market because let's suppose rates do decline big time. What might happen there? I'm going to tell you what will happen. A lot of buyers are coming in. Competition for the same house today is going to increase. So when that competition increases, it changes everything. So instead of asking, is the perfect time to buy now? Ask the question this, is this the perfect time for me to buy right now? That's completely different questions. The market doesn't need to be perfect. The decision needs to be in a place that makes sense for you and your situation. Now let's get to the final one, number 10. Let's talk about Morristown and more than real estate, because this may be the most important thing in the whole video. If you're thinking about moving to Morristown, don't just shop for a house. Shop for your life. Real estate's going to be a part of it, but where are you going to be spending your time? What kind of commute are you wanting? Are outdoor activities, are they important to you? Is the lake, do you want access to Cherokee Lake? Do you want to be maybe closer to Knoxville, Tri-Cities? What kind of property maintenance are you wanting? Maybe you're wanting some acreage. Maybe you want that smaller lot. Maybe you want a brand new house. Maybe you love the older homes. It's all here. What services matter? Churches, organizations, activities, businesses, and community connections. What ones are important to your life? Because I can show somebody 2 houses with identical prices and very similar square footage, and depending on what that person values, one could make much more sense than the other. That's why I want this channel to become more than, well, here's another house for sale. There are plenty of places online where you can totally see listings. I want Elite Realty Group's channel to answer the biggest question for you. What do I need to know about buying and selling and living in Morristown, Tennessee? That's what we're building here, okay? Here's your bonus. What I think the next few years could mean for Morristown, Tennessee. I want to finish with this. I've been in the real estate business here in Morristown, Tennessee for a long time, and honestly, I've watched Morristown change a lot. I've watched our real estate market change a lot. I've watched technology change the way buyers shop. I've watched people discover East Tennessee and what we all love about it. I believe Morristown is increasingly becoming a place where people outside our immediate area are looking at. We're growing. The numbers show that. Our location isn't changing. The lakes are not going anywhere. The mountains are not going anywhere. And East Tennessee continues to attract major attention. But here's what I don't want. I don't want this channel to become one of those channels where every video says, everybody's moving here. That's not useful to you. Don't want to sell somebody a fantasy. I want to give people more information. Sometimes that information, it'll make you more interested in Morristown. Sometimes I may tell you something and you decide, you know what? That's probably not what I'm looking for. And that's okay. Because if you're making a major real estate decision, you deserve accurate information, not some big sales pitch. My goal isn't to convince everyone watching this video to move to Morristown. My goal is to make sure that if you're considering Morristown, Tennessee, you know what questions you need to ask. So there you have it, friends. 10 things that I think you need to know before moving to Morristown, Tennessee. And we're just getting started. We've got a lot of information on the channel. Over the next few weeks, we're going to go much deeper. We're going to talk about what different price ranges, what you can look at in those price ranges in Morristown, Tennessee, 37814 versus 37813. Looking at Cherokee Lake property, maybe you're looking for that East Tennessee acreage. More info specifically on the Morristown, Tennessee housing market. What do you got to do to buy, to sell here? How's relocation look? And we're going to actually get out into the community and show Morristown instead of just talking from behind my desk. So if you live here, if you're thinking about moving here, or if you simply want to understand what's happening with Morristown, Tennessee real estate, make sure you subscribe to the Elite Realty Group YouTube channel. And I want you to leave me a comment below today. Tell me, what do you want to know about Morristown, Tennessee? Because I'm going to use your questions to create some future videos that give you what you want. And if you're actually planning to buy, sell, or move to Morristown, Tennessee, or anywhere throughout the Lakeway area, reach out to us here at Elite Realty Group. We've been serving this community now for almost 20 years, and we'll be glad to have one of our agents help you. I am Mike Elkins, broker owner of Elite Realty Group, and this is the Elite Realty Group Podcast, where you receive the most up-to-date, relevant real estate information anywhere on the planet. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you on the next one. Be safe and be blessed.